Hello everybody and welcome to the very first YouTube exclusive footage of Civilization 6 gameplay by yours truly. And boy, do we have a challenge in front of us today. Today we are going to be attempting to go to space with just one city. And of course to do so first. And that does sound very daunting. It is extremely difficult, only done at a very elite level. I am really looking forward to this challenge. I've tried it a couple times in the past. I've come pretty close. And, excuse me. And I'm really looking forward to giving this another shot. And if you're watching this, then I guess it means that I was eventually successful. With that being said, we're going to choose Russia today. And we are playing on Deity, just to make sure everyone's aware. This is going to be played on Deity Difficulty level. So I have absolutely lost my mind. Here we go. Peter, and why is Peter is such a great choice for this particular challenge. So let's go through his abilities really quickly, just so that you guys can get an idea. Number 1, the Grand Embassy, receiving science and culture from trade routes to civilizations that are more advanced than Russia, +1 for every 3 technologies or civics that they are ahead. So basically, obviously with one city we're not going to have a ton of trade routes, but with each of those trade routes we're going to be able to get a little bit of extra science and a little bit extra culture. Maybe 1 or 2 per turn, maybe 3 per turn. Certainly you're going to get some at the beginning of the game because ultimately the AI on Deity is always going to be ahead of you for the first 100 turns or so, no matter how well you play, because they have so many advantages. So this is a great way to just kind of help just keep in touch with them a little bit, with that little bit of extra science and culture kick super early in the game. So that's really fantastic to grab that one. The next one, Mother Russia, extra territory upon founding cities, and also +1 faith and +1 production from tundra tiles. So this is great because obviously you very quickly get a lot of extra tiles to work. Obviously you're going to want to have a lot of strong tiles. You're going to want an extremely strong city in order to have a chance at this. And getting the extra faith and the extra protection from those tundra tiles is going to make those tiles particularly strong so that you're able to find ways to get everything done, high production levels, and get everything kind of set up just the way you need it to get. And obviously getting your borders expanded faster as well. Being able to immediately get those 8 extra tiles on the 2nd level. So that means you're getting to your 3rd level so much quicker, and then expanding beyond that even to get extra chops and things in that 4th and 5th ring as you get down the line. Next, the Cossack. Not really going to come into play for our particular game, but it is a particularly strong mid to slightly later game military unit. I actually have had quite a bit of enjoyment playing with this Cossack unit in military runs with Russia before. So it's definitely an interesting play there. And also, finally, the Lavra, which I believe is the most powerful individual unique district in the game. There's some other good ones, but this one is so powerful because it can get you a religion super early in the game practically for free. Because you can build it so quickly, just plop it down, build it in 3 or 4 turns or whatever, and then boom, it's almost guaranteed to give you a religion. And religion, I always say don't bother with a religion unless you're going for religious victory for the most part. But with Peter, he can get it so quickly, and there are going to be some advantages to the kind of religion I'm having in mind for this run, which will help us actually in our science and our overall production in that. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, the Lavra could come in handy quite a bit. And also your borders expanding for each great person expended, so that's also a nice little bonus as well. Just helps you get more and more land as fast as possible. That's fantastic. So, let's move on, shall we? This is the map that I found. It took a long time. In fact, a little bit of a backstory here. It is a Saturday afternoon, and yesterday was Friday, and I streamed for 10 hours. And we messed around on stream with this for the entire stream. Re-rolling, taking a stab at different stuff. People were going and looking for seeds. We tried out different seeds. We got partway into a run and missed a certain wonder, or couldn't find city-states and got attacked, and all kinds of crazy things that happened, which did not work out well. But today, I was back at it looking for another seed. I wanted to try and put together a really cool run here for you guys on YouTube. And if it goes well, and I'm able to get this up, and there's a good response, people like it, and they want to see more, what I may do is add this to maybe a 1 of 4 or even a 1 of 5 challenge, or a series, if you will, where I try to do a 1 city challenge for all the different victory types. I have done one in the past for religion. Really not all that difficult, to be honest with you, again, with Russia. Culture seems very complex and curious, but maybe we could take a shot at trying to do something like that. And then with the military game, it would be kind of weird because you kind of have to leave all of the capitals at the very end of the game to take, like, on the last turn, I suppose. Be some sort of weird thing, but maybe we could do that. And, of course, Gathering Storm is going to be coming out, as of this recording, in 5 days. Which means 5 days from now, there's going to be a 5th victory condition, the Diplomacy victory condition. And with that, a lot of changes to the game, which may actually make some of that conversation a little bit moot. So we're not 100% sure on that. But here we are. And this is our city. I found this one this morning. Actually, to be honest with you, I had a buddy helping me look for seeds, and he actually found this one. And when I saw it, I kind of fell in love. It is incredibly strong. To give you an idea of what we are looking for in a city, like, you know, if you're out there looking for your own seed to try something similar to this, with Russia, you're going to want half of your map to be tundra, and the other half to be areas where you can put your districts down. Maybe you got a farming triangle, have some luxuries, put some wonders and stuff on. But you want to have a nice hilly tundra so you can have lots of those strong tundra tiles for Russia, and of course, the Lavra you're going to want to have surrounded by 6 tundra tiles, because you're going to want to have the Dance of Aurora Pantheon, which is going to give you adjacency bonuses dependent upon that. And we'll get down to some of the reasons why you want that as we move on to the game, but it's very important. So something like this is really strong. Obviously, if you can get stuff like a pasture to be built, and the resource to farm, and the quarry to be built, some of those kinds of things are really nice for early science bonuses, which is great. 100% you need a camp. You need to be able to build a camp in this game, and in particular we actually have one here with the deer. So what is this going to do is it's going to allow us to build Temple of Artemis, and with Temple of Artemis we are going to be able to get a whole bunch of population going quickly, have lots of amenities, and get growing a lot faster. So that is, and also have housing as well. So it's a very important wonder in this game. There's a number of other wonders that we're going to want to try and target very, very importantly, and we'll get to that very shortly. But for now, we're going to just plop down right in place. You could turn to settle the sugar. I don't mind that idea, but I kind of, if you did, then you'd be losing a couple things. First of all, you'd be losing some tundra tiles. We don't know exactly what they're going to look like, but we're going to be losing some of those. And also, we lose being settled on the tundra. And if we settle on the tundra, we get faith in the capital as right away, as well as the production, because, of course, we get the tundra tile bonus. So this makes our opening city right in the tundra super strong. So it's kind of a deterrent to want to settle outside the tundra if you can actually find a spot like this. So here we go. This is what we like, and we're going to plop it down right now. So, as you can see, we've gotten that extra faith because it's a tundra tile. Excuse me. We've got some copper up here as well, and some more hills out here, it looks like. So that's very nice. We do have, in this case, a couple of lost, wasted tiles, if you will, whatever you want to call it, which is not great. Obviously, it'd be nice if those were hills instead or something like that. But we will live with that. It's hard to get a perfect map, and that's, you know, a couple of wasted tiles is not a big deal. If you see a map that looks pretty good, but you've got, like, you know, 2 or 3 lake tiles and a bunch of mountains and stuff like that, or some coastal tiles getting in your way, it's really not worth it. You just need all the tiles. You're going to want at least 15 hills to make a super productive city. You're going to want some really strong food tiles, like those sugar tiles you can see there. And you're also going to want plenty of chops to help you get stuff built, and also an area for your districts and stuff like that. So you're going to want to have a good idea of what you're starting with here, and I think this is pretty good. So let's just go ahead and move our dude over here. And then we're just going to probably follow that river down, I guess. And then we'll head a scout out here. And that scout will follow the river this way, and we'll see what's happening. Now, one thing that keep in mind when you are playing Russia, if you haven't played them much before, is sometimes you gotta be careful with barbarians. Barbarians can be a real annoyance. So I may at some point have to buy or build a unit or two to help defend our land. Because when you don't have anybody around you, sometimes you're going to have to be the defender of the north or defender of the south, if you will, and have to take care of those barbarians yourself. So hopefully we don't have to get too much trouble with that. Maybe these mountains will protect us a fair amount. Maybe there's a nice little range here. But as that unfolds, we'll let you know. For now, we are working an absolutely gorgeous 3-3-1 tile. And we're going to have a 5 turns on promotion. I think we'll roll straight into the sugar to get to pop 3 super quick. We'll get our scout out, like I said, and then we'll be off to the races. Technology-wise, we're going to want to get to astrology as quickly as we can to get that laver down, get our research for that, so we can go ahead and build that thing and get ourselves a religion with a great profit. So we're going to want to get to that. We're also going to want to get to Temple of Artemis as quickly as I can, because that does go fairly quickly in the game. So we're going to want to get that done ASAP. So what I like to do is start with animal husbandry, just so we get our way into archery. Gives us a little bit more time to possibly get a natural wonder founded, so that we can save a little bit of cash, save a lot of turns on the research of astrology, and then, you know, killer with a slinger. I don't really know. If something happens where we need to build a couple of slingers, that would be good for the bonus, but it wouldn't be necessarily good for our production. So we'll see what happens there. But that tends to be the order I like to go in for this. And then we're going to want to get to the campus before too long, because we're going to want to start working those great people points as quickly as we can in order to get a couple of the early great scientists, if we can, if it's possible. And we'll talk about those a little bit later and what's important about those. So there you go. I think we're ready to hit next turn. So the one thing I am looking forward to with this is that we're going to be able to have a little bit faster a pace overall with this playthrough, as opposed to like a game of the week, particularly as the game moves on, because we're only going to have the one city. We'll be exploring and then just going along. When you've got to move around a whole bunch of settlers and a whole bunch of builders every turn, and you're choosing what to build in a lot of cities and making decisions on what improvements to make where in each of the cities, and planning out districts for all the cities and wonders for all the cities, there's a lot more to go through in each turn. So as we get through this, we should be able to click next turn at a relatively fast clip. And there's a barbarian. So let's cross our fingers that he goes away. Maybe, hopefully. I would like not to have to turn around. Don't make me come back there. So yeah, anyway, let's just keep moving along here and see what he does. We're still in good shape. I'm going to keep moving this way. Next turn. He did go away, thankfully. Very good. A first meet on Kumasi, ladies and gentlemen. Whew. I'm going to go this way. So Kumasi, not a particularly strong one, because we're probably not going to have a lot of trade routes going. Certainly not a lot of trade routes. Wait. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's right too. I wanted to make sure I was reading that right, because I was pretty sure it was city-state trade routes. So you get extra culture and gold for city-states. Maybe at some point down the road that'll be valuable to us, but early on we're going to probably want our trade routes to go to a neighbor that provides science and culture with our special abilities. So it's not bad. Obviously there's a couple that we could prefer to have that are better, but you can't complain too much when on turn 5 you've gone ahead and found yourself +2 culture. So let's be happy about that. All right, our scout's out. Let's take a look on down the river. Looks like the tundra is kind of wrapping around a little bit on us here. Now, next. This is an interesting one. I love going monument really quickly if I can. Obviously, if I'm playing a regular playthrough, I'm actually settler right now. But getting the monument as soon as you can helps push you through that tree so nicely, and I really like that. But I also kind of like the idea of grabbing a builder here, and I'm going to tell you why. when Code of Laws is done, we're going to want to get into craftsmanship and then into state workforce, because we're going to want this Corvée card, which is plus 15% production towards ancient and classic wonders. And in order to get there as quickly as we can, we're going to want to get improved 3 tiles, and we're going to want to get to build a specialty district. Now that's going to be the lava, and we shouldn't have any trouble getting that done in time to get the bonus there. But up here, if we go, we're going to be there very quickly. If we go monument first, we're going to be halfway done craftsmanship before we even finish the monument. By the time we get the builder, we will have not gotten anything there. So we're actually going to save more on culture by getting those 3 tiles improved than we are on getting the monument earlier. So I think we go into builder first, get these improvements going, and then we run into the monument. And then of course we get a bonus here. We farm that resource. We're going to get a pasture built, and we'll go ahead and build that camp so that we're ready for Temple of Artemis. Speaking of which, before long, we are going to take a pause in the festivities and try to plan out exactly what it is we're going to do in all of these tiles here, and just kind of figure out, you know, where the wonders are going to go, where the districts are going to go, and just have a little festivity like that. So we won't be long on that. We'll continue to work our way out there, and we're 8 turns on a builder right now, but we should, yes, we'll be using that. So in 4 turns, we'll be at pop 3, and that builder will be along so much quicker after that, because we'll slide into probably one of these 1-3 tiles after that, which will work very well. Keep moving to the left. Stepping on as many hills as possible. You guys know me, or maybe you don't, but you should know me by now that... Oh, goody hut right there. You should know me by now that for some reason I just love stepping on hills to get that vision at the end of turns, so that we know where we're going on the following turn. So there we go. 3 from next turn. I gotta get into the rhythm of hitting next turn more quickly, because there's no need to sit around here and wait too long with well, there's another goody hut, and we're going to want to stick to this river too, so we're going to be like getting that, maybe head down in there. We're 2 turns there. Yeah, I tend to play with a kind of a slower pace. I don't know, it's I think that part of it for me, I haven't seen any barbs. Maybe we get greedy and go there with the survey. And then into the production. We don't need this because we're working the faith already. Which is great. Free Pantheon without having to worry about using God King. So we get right into the production. And yeah, I think I'm going to just leave that on discipline just for now. Get a little bit greedy on this maybe. And watch me regret it in a couple minutes. But yeah, I try to I tend to be a little bit cautious. Boost to masonry. It's not bad. We would have gotten that on the quarry, but oh well. Oh, and I think we've got a science city-state coming in here. So maybe next turn we meet them. Cross our fingers it's a first meet. And we'll snag some gold there. So I want to try and get the pace up. I obviously don't want to make any mistakes, but with that being said, with only 1 city, I need to improve my confidence level on just being able to hit that next turn at a decent pace and keep this thing going along for you guys. So we're going to jump into this here. That's 11 turns. We're 5 on the builder. So we'll keep an eye on it. We may be able to turn that off for a turn or 2 at the end. We've got our 3 things to do here. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll manage. So 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns, 4 turns, 5 turns. So if you do it this way, it takes 5 turns. If you go this way, it's you get this done right away as 1. Get this done was 2. Step on that's 3. Step on that 4. So it's 5 turns either way. It's 5 turns either way. So it doesn't really matter which order we do it in. The camp will be built long before we really end up getting into a situation where we need to get Temple of Artemis started. So it won't be a big deal.
I am fond of pigs. Dogs look
there you go. Palenque. So that's I don't know, probably one of the lesser city-states for science. Obviously, Geneva would be the biggest one for us. And then probably after that, Stockholm with the bonus Grey People points. But growth rate's not too bad. Growth rate is not too bad at all. It's going to help us grow. Like I said, high population is going to be huge because we're essentially going to be building like every district at some point. And speak of the devil, Geneva. Now, it wasn't a first meet, so we got another civilization in the area, but that is fantastic. This is what you need. Well, you don't have to have this, but generally speaking, if you're going to do a run, this is the kind of thing you need. Some early culture, some early science on first meets is fantastic. There's also other good ones. If we're in a regular run, it's great to get a military city-state in order to get production towards builders and settlers early in the game, so that's fantastic. Obviously, lots of gold. +4 gold is nice from the commercial ones. An early meet on a if you're a civ other than Russia, an early meet on a faith religious based city state of course is nice for the early faith for pantheons, but couldn't be other than maybe selecting better versions of the commercial and science city states. It could not be going a whole lot better than the way it's going right now. Pretty smooth. Now let's jump up into here into astrology. Still haven't found a wonder, but we'll cross our fingers. We're making up some pretty good ground here. If we don't, then we got to hard tech it. You can't wait on it. You're just going to throw your timing off. So, and then we'll come down here. Keep moving. The river continues this way. Just kind of truck through all this thick land, I guess. We are pop 3. Okay. I hope at that pace there's no way. Yeah. I was gonna say I hope we don't not work in both sugars. I mean that's nice, but you want to get on the production side as well. We're one turn from the builder now that we've gone up in population, so that's going to accelerate us. Got to keep an eye on craftsmanship that we don't waste anything there. One of the key. Hello there. Maybe I shouldn't have. Well, it doesn't matter. I've kind of clicked exchange information on capitals, but I'm not too worried about that.
Water everywhere.
There you go.
Any drop to drink.
Lake Redba. It's a nice one, actually. I don't mind Lake Redba. I've had a couple of opportunities to settle on that in the past, and it's a nice little wonder. So, Buenos Aires, which isn't bad. It'll help for luxuries if we need them at some point, although I'm guessing we probably won't if we get Temple of Artemis, which certainly that will be the plan. The bonus to astrology is fantastic. But yeah, I was in the middle of saying something and I can't remember what it was now. That's okay. We'll keep moving. Somebody on the comments remind me what I was talking about. Okay, so here's our builder. I think it doesn't really matter. I think I'm just going to go this way just because it feels more natural to get things done sooner. Particularly because it makes these tiles strong. Like for instance, this becomes, well, then neither one is going to be strong enough to actually overtake the 3-star we're using now, but it just makes sense to me to get things done faster. Now we're going to dive into the monument. It's going to be 6 turns at the most. We might even get it in 5 because we're growing in 3. Pantheon. So we're going to get Dance of Aurora. Okay, I'm going to choose it now and I'm going to tell you why. So, Dance of the Aurora, we're going to put our religious district. My first thought is right here. And the reason why I choose that one is because, first of all, you want it surrounded by 6 tundra tiles in order to take advantage of the adjacency of the Dance of the Aurora, which gives you +1 for every tundra tile. And it's really a fantastic one because if you can get really high adjacency on your Lavra, there's a great scientist you can get in the ancient era which actually permits you to get science equivalent to your holy site adjacency. So that's a 6. Maybe we get a couple districts around it. It becomes a 7 or an 8. Then you double it with the adjacency doubling card. Makes it 16 maybe? 14, 16. And then you get that card. Now all of a sudden you've got that free 14 science, 16 science every single turn for a long period of the game very early on. Which just, that's when in a going, only having one city, that's like basically having a couple of extra amazing campuses with that kind of science. So, yeah, that's a big part of the reason that we're going to be attempting that, and hopefully we get lucky on that. Now, we've just satisfied a couple of envoy requests, apparently, for getting... that done. Research astrology. Was that what was the... I don't even know what their request was, but that's fantastic. Palenka's one away from already being ours. What does Geneva want? Oh, construct a campus. That should be pretty easy. And construct a government plaza. So we should be able to get those. That's really nice. We should be able to grab those and get those free envoys right out of the gate, which is super valuable, as you guys know. I talk about it all the time. Manage. Oh, I remember what I was going to talk about earlier. So I was talking about wanting to manage things like your tree and making sure you don't go over. If you're going to get a buff, make sure you don't waste time going over. For instance, we're going to get 3 tiles improved. Don't research into where the buff is going to make it, obsolete or unneeded. So you want to manage those things. Now, when you're playing on a deity high-end level where you're min-maxing everything, those things are important. They're really important to help make the difference in a long-term game. But playing in a one-city challenge, they become that much more important because every single turn of culture, every single turn of science, every single turn of food and production, they all get put under a microscope, particularly early in the game when you're trying to optimize every last thing you do. Managing even... Oh, Gilgabro. Hey. Even managing your... your cards, like your government cards, properly is a key thing. You making sure you're managing your governors, flipping them back and forth to the proper governors at the right times. We'll get into that strategy later. But yeah, it all becomes that much more magnified and important when you're playing on deity and only allowed one city. It's going to be really, really tight. So you got to be very careful there. Now let's take a quick look here. What was it doing? Oh, Gilgabro. We want to go talk to Gilgabro about being besties. Because as you guys know, he's going to love you a long time now. And also, we should satisfy Chandragupta's agenda as well. He doesn't like us right now, but he's going to, because we're not close to him, because somebody else is going to be closer to him, probably Gilgamesh, then we should be in good shape for him being satisfied with our agenda later on, or his agenda later on. So that's really good. Let's go ahead and hit next turn. Gilgabro's all kinds of happy with us at this point. We've got our farm here. We're going to go ahead and get our pasture. There's another boost for us. That's fantastic. As our population grows, we're going to have more and more really great tiles all throughout the game. And that's really strong. That's important. You don't want to have a one city challenge where you're like, oh, I got to work this crappy tile to get growth, or, I'm not really getting that much stuff. You've got to have things going really well for you. From the beginning, or else you're just kind of hamstrung, or you're hamstringing yourself, kind of. So maybe we can get over here. We weren't allowed to get all the way to the river because of that guy. We're gonna head back around down below here, I guess. Maybe we'll find another city-state in a grouping with these guys. Sometimes you get that lucky. Although we didn't get a first meet on Buenos Aires, so there's probably, I guess, somebody in here, which would make sense. Let's click on the next turn. And then doesn't really matter what you do. You can go to here or to here. It's still going to take one more turn to go to there. Looking at craftsmanship, it looks like we're going to actually need one more turn on it, unfortunately. There's a little sliver there that's not going to be done unless we do one more turn. So we'll keep an eye on that. Oh, we're not going to want to go there now because he's in the way. And I don't think I want to fight anybody else's barbarians. Because I don't want this guy injured unless I'm going to have an actual barb hut to clear. So maybe we can go up here and around and take a look for that barb hut and see if we can get lucky. Continue down here. We've found the coast. Looks like some tough terrain through here, but we'll see what happens. Let's check out up here. We need one more turn of that craftsmanship, like I said. Astrology next turn, which will permit us the beginning of the Lavra. I'm going to go ahead and buy this tile at 50. Nice. Just in time. So, I think we're going to put our Lavra here. And I think actually what we'll do next turn, when it's time to put down the Lavra, we'll put down our first Inklings, which will be probably a pretty good idea of what we're going to do for districts and wonders as we go through. Once we start that Lavra up, we'll get into that discussion. Right. Easy peasy. Come up here, maybe step on a hill up in here somewhere and take a look at what's going on. So you're going to go there. Now we got to remember to turn craftsmanship off. And we'll just come down here and pump a turn into foreign trade. We're going to want to get off of foreign trade when this one finishes next turn because we're going to want to get a state workforce. I do apologize, Rory. You guys know Rory. She's just crying away here in the background. I fed her just before I started the video, and for some reason she still wants to be a little bit of a wine box, unfortunately, but she'll be fine. I promise you she's well fed, and I'll pay attention to her in about 5 or 10 minutes as soon as we finish this episode. So don't worry about her. She's going to be just fine. All right, into archery. 8 turns at the worst, and that starts us Temple of Artemis, which will go right here. I think makes most sense. Now, okay, so let's do this. We're going to start our Lavra. It's only a 3-turn Lavra. It's a ton of faith to give up. If you get that built, we can get right back into the monument. It's not too big of a deal there at all. But what I do want to do is I want to start to take a look at what else we're going to do. Now, I was taking a look at this as we've been playing through here, and I really do like, obviously, the campus. We're not going to put the campus up in the mountains and destroy any of these things. Plus, there's only at best maybe a +2. But if we do it down here with some other districts, we might be able to organize potentially a +3, which isn't too bad. It's not great, but we're going to get a ton of science from this as well, which is great. My thought was here is maybe the government plaza next to the Holy Site and the campus. So this is going to become a 6 for the tundra, 7 for 2 districts, and 8 for the government plaza. That is really a fantastic Holy Site. That's going to be a ton of science if we can get that great scientist going right away. Other things, one of the wonders that I really want to take a look at making sure we have a good crack at is the Oxford University. It is an extremely, we're going to want it. It's going to be a really important one to try and get in order to move our way along on the science tree, because it's going to be a lot of bonus science and stuff like that, as you guys know, so it's great. The other one here, and I was just thinking it makes a lot of sense to put on this hill, because it's not going to waste, oops, I've hit a wrong button there. It's not going to waste a hill in the tundra, which are a little bit more valuable. We're going to like those up there, obviously, especially once we get St. Basil's, and of course we've got that bonus already with Russia, so that's really good. So if we could get the Oracle up in here as well, that's another one adjacent here. And then there's a few options. I guess this would be the commercial hub. I guess that would make sense, along the river and next to the government plaza. So that's a decent little +4 commercial hub there. This theater square will be a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eventually. And then maybe we can stick in another wonder later in the game. There's a few options. Hermitage, Bolshoi. Hermitage could go on the river. Bolshoi next to the theater square. Maybe even later than that, we could go with something like Broadway or something like that. We'll just leave that kind of blank. Other things we need, we're going to need an industrial zone. So we're going to want to come over here by the mines and take a look at that. And of course, we're going to need Ruhr Valley, so we need a place along the river for that as well. This is going to be the Temple of Artemis. So we're just going to put TOA on that. Right here, I think, on the flat land. Eventually, I think we eat the deer and put a wonder there, because I really want Apadana, and it's got to be on. It's got to be beside the capital, and then maybe St. Basil's on one of these hills. I guess we have to eat up a hill. I think there. We really don't have much of an option. So either of those hills, really, we can't obviously put it there. And if we put university there, we don't have much options. That's going to be flat ground next to the campus. Now, there's a bunch of hills here. So this actually right here, we give up a hill for the industrial zone, but it comes a +4. And then Ruhr Valley could go on flat land, so we don't have to give up anything there. So we can just go like that. That's a V Valley. So Ruhr Valley there makes a lot of sense. Now, these are actually outside of our... these mines will be outside of our control for usage, but we can still mine them up chop the stone, chop the tree, mine them up, and get the bonus to the industrial zone. And we'll get to that level quite quickly. You can see we're almost already ready to go to the level 3. So that's pretty fantastic. And we're going to get great people. That's going to expand our borders as well. So it won't take long for us to get that going as well. So I think I like that. I just got a follow on... I don't even know how that happened. I'm not even streaming right now. What was that? Did you guys hear that? It happened. I got a follow on Twitch right there. That was BB8 saying hello. Anyway, moving right along. So this is the things that are happening right here, folks. And I don't know if I can think of anything else. You know what I'm wondering? Is this a coastal tile? I just saw this little bit. I think this is a coastal tile. And if it is, we absolutely love our life. Where's the settler lens? Oh, it's not going to show us because it's within the cities. I think that's a coastal tile. Does it say down there? Tundra, charming. No, it doesn't say it. I think that's on the coast. And if it is, that's it makes sense if it is. I'm just going to pin it right now. Oops. I think that might be... Oh my goodness. You guys know it and love it. It's my favorite wonder in the game. Kilwa, Kisawani. If we can get that, that's a freaking boon. Particularly if we can find another... Well, you actually have 2 Silent City Stage, right? Yeah, so that's fantastic. Holy cow. So mostly all these hills are just going to be mines. I don't think of anything else. Other things that we're going to want to get... And we've got a bunch of space down here. And the exact order we build these in is not particularly important. Is if we can get an entertainment complex at some point for amenities if it's needed, is not an emergency. The encampment is actually more important because that's going to give us bonus of 15% production towards space projects way down the line if we can get there. So we're going to want to get that as well. Plus it gives us a little bit of housing and stuff. There's other things that can help us in there. And then of course, if we're going to space, we're going to need one of these. It's called the spaceport. So those are just some extra districts late game that we can get thrown down there. We have Roar Valley. These are obviously unmovable. I don't think there's a lot of else things. We got some pretty good districts here. The science will be 4 districts, so that's 2, and then the government will be 3. So that'll be solid. We get the card turned on, that'll be 6 science. We'll get a ton of science from this. Hopefully, we got the great person going. Our theater square will be early on. It will be a 2. Very quickly, and then also a 4 because the Oracle, if we get it, will be early on as well. So it'll be a 4 pretty quick, and then eventually a 6 and possibly even an 8 at some point. A +4 commercial up. So it's all pretty solid districts, so you can't complain about that. A really nice +4 industrial zone with Roar Valley. I feel like this is all the things that we need to worry about. Obviously, there's another district that you guys would be familiar with. Another wonder late game that you guys might be familiar with for science is the Amundsen Scott, or Amundsen Scott, or however we say it. But we don't have any snow tiles, so that is out the window. And that's fine. That's super, super late in the game. It would have been great, but I mean, if we pull off this kill wall, that's a bit of a scandal in itself, so that's pretty fantastic. We're not using up really any hills, which is great for a lot of our districts and stuff. Other than, I guess, the industrial zone. Oracle has to go on a hill, of course, and St. Basil's. It'd be nice not to lose the hill, but it's, it is what it is. We'll have some chops here to get through some of our wonders because the deer and the tree will have to go, so that'll help us get through Apadana and maybe even Oracle as well. Try and get those done early. So I think this sets up pretty well. Like I said, we've got the Lavra going right now, which is fantastic. 3 turns, we'll get back into the monument. We'll start working on our great people points towards the Prophet. We'll get into Temple of Artemis very soon. We're 8 turns on that tech. We're going to want to get our campus down really quickly with the library to start working those great people points. We're also going to want to probably use the great scientist points card very early on in order to make sure we're pushing that. The Oracle will help with great people points. So we've got lots of good stuff going on here. I think it's going to be a real good fun run, and we're going to have a shot at this. So hopefully you guys are watching this, because it means we probably did have some pretty good success, or at least it was an exciting game at the very least. And yeah, that's it. I think we're going to call the first episode right here, folks. Please, if you're enjoying this, if you like this series, if you like the idea of doing a one city challenge, if you guys want to see more of these kinds of things, Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of it. Of course, hit the like button. Make sure everybody on YouTube can hear about all this great stuff we're doing over here. And if you haven't already, for some reason, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the great content coming your way with the Gathering Storm release in just 5 days. Folks, have yourselves a good one, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.